Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back. So today I'm gonna do a tutorial on this look. I was gonna do something more simple, but then it turned into this. So I'm gonna finally be using my James Charles palette. I used it twice already, but I used it on my clients. I didn't use it on myself, so I wanted to try it out on myself. Oops. So, but yeah, if you guys want to see how I created this look, then keep on watching. So, I already did my eyebrows. I'm gonna just clean them up with some concealer. Okay, so I'm just cleaning up my eyebrows with a concealer brush and some concealer, but I'm not going to drag that concealer down. I'm just going to clean it up because I already had filled them in, and plus I'm using a different eye base this time instead of the concealer. And I just went ahead and just did both eyebrows the same way. Just clean them up and that's it. Alright, so instead of using my concealer as a eyeshadow base, I'm going to use the P. Louise base as the eyeshadow base, and that's because that's what he recommended you do for these eyeshadows. I'm not gonna do like a whole review. I'm gonna tell you how I feel about it as I go, but I know it did give me a little bit of trouble when I used this base, but I'm gonna still try it out anyway. It worked better with like my MAC paint pot, but I still want to give it another chance because this base does work really good when it comes to like the colors sticking on it. And with a like fluffy concealer brush, I just blended that base all over the eyelids, and I kind of like tapped it around instead of like swiping motions. That way it could blend a little bit more and get a little bit more tacky. So I went ahead and chose this dark brown color. It looked more plummy in the palette, but as I applied it, it kind of looked black, but like an off black in a way. So it did come out a little bit darker than I expected, but I'm gonna just add that into the outer V, but I'm not gonna blend it out as usual with a Morphe 506. So that color was blending in pretty good, I guess. The first time I used it, I guess because I used the purple, it was a little bit harder, but this one was blending in really good. I didn't have any problems with patchiness or anything. So I went ahead and did the other eye, and then I went in with this brown color from the palette with that same brush, and I applied that to the inner crease, I guess like the middle. And that color, I thought it was going to come out a little lighter than how it's applying. It came out a little bit too dark, but I'll just fix that later. So because that color came out a little bit darker, I'm taking these two colors to warm up the crease a little bit because it's coming up a little on the cooler side, and I like my eyeshadows more on the warmer side. So I'm taking a mix of these two colors with that same Morphe 506 and adding that right on top of that where I put that brown color. And I also mixed in those two colors with like the outer V color. As I was blending in the crease, I just went ahead and took the remaining and just blended out the their outer V as well. So I went ahead and grabbed that dark brown color right next to the black one, and I added that to the outer V because I felt like it just needed a little bit more depth in the outer V, and because I mixed the other two, it kind of looked it funny to me, so I added that, and I liked that way that one looked better. Okay, so jumping into cutting my crease, I'm going to apply that P. Louise base onto my lids and then looking up so I could see where I want my crease. Because I have hooded eyes, I need to do that so that way it could give me a guideline. And then I'm going to just outline where I want the crease to be first on both eyes. And I'm not going to fill the lid part in just yet. I'm going to do this first just so I can see where I want the cut crease to be. So I went back in with some of that dark brown shadow and like a small detailed eyeshadow brush, and I just outlined where the crease is because it was a little bit lighter. So when I added like the darker brown, it made it pop even more. And then I just blended out the edges where I put the dark brown eyeshadow with the Morphe 506. So I just took a makeup wipe and decided to clean up my lid area, because sometimes like when you put the base, it kind of mixes in with like all the fallout that was on your lid, and it turns into like a different color. So I just wanted to start off with like a clean base, and then I just reapplied that P. Louise base, and I cleaned up the cut crease again so it could look nice and sharp, and I could have like a nice fresh base for the eyeshadow lid. I mean the eyeshadow color. Alright, so I'm just gonna do like a gold eyelid color, because I was originally gonna do like a yellow, like a neutral eye with a yellow inner corner, but that didn't happen. Alright, so yeah, so because that didn't happen, I'm just gonna do like a gold, and I'm gonna take the gold from the palette, which is like a highlighter color. It's this one. And I'm just gonna add that to like right here. And I'm using a tiny little eyeshadow brush. So I just went in with that small brush and I went along the cut crease and just set that base so that way it doesn't transfer up, because it was a little sticky. So I just wanted to set it and make sure that didn't move, and I did that on both eyes. So I did that first, and then I went in later on with the same gold all over the lid. So I just took a flat eyeshadow brush and I wet it with some fix spray, and I applied that shimmery shadow right on top of the lid. So now I'm taking this darker bronzy color from the palette and I'm gonna add that to the outer lids just to make it look like a little like gradient effect. And I use the same brush and I wet the brush with the same fixed blush. I think I'm gonna still add the yellow. Maybe at the end I'm gonna see how everything looks like, nice and like when everything's done, like eyelashes and stuff, and then I'm gonna just pop the yellow right in the corners. And I'm just gonna use brown liner today. I feel like I don't want it to look too dark, so I'm gonna use this e.l.f. gel liner in coffee, I think. Yeah, coffee. And just do a little wing. So I use this e.l.f. liner, and I really love this eyeliner. I haven't used it in a while, so like I used it and I'm like, why didn't I use this more often? I like the way brown eyeliner looks on me, and I use like a eyeliner brush, but this brush was a little bit too thick, so I would suggest using something really thin for this type of cream eyeliner, because it can be like a little thick, so your line could get thick really fast. So I went ahead and just cut off the other eye, because I basically did the same thing, the same technique for the liner. And then I'm gonna apply these lashes that I doubled up. I use like the Ardell wispies and like demi wispies, so they look really kind of like flared out, and I love the way they came out. I know there was like Ardell wispies or demi wispies, something like that. It was two of them, and I put them right on top of each other, and they gave my eye like a really pretty shape. So for the face, I'm using the Becca Ever Matte primer, and I don't really believe in primers, but this one I do like for oily skin. I feel like it does keep my oils in check for a little bit, not too long, but it's a little bit. And I'm just gonna tap that in, not rub. That product works better when you tap it in. So because I was going out, I decided to use my Superstay foundation. This foundation is really good, and it's really like a matte and full coverage foundation, and I like using that when I step out at night, because it does last a little bit longer than my usual matte Maybelline matte and poreless. So I'm just taking a foundation brush and dabbing that all over and like slightly blending it, and then I'm gonna take a beauty blender. No, not a beauty blender. I'm gonna take my Real Techniques sponge and just blend out the rest with the sponge. So I decided to cream contour because I feel like that lasts a little bit longer for my oily skin type. And I used the ColourPop No Filter Concealer to contour and just blended that out with the brush. And I only applied it like on my cheeks and my forehead. That's the only place I pretty much cream contour. And for concealer, I just used the same concealer but in a different shade, of course, and I just dabbed that onto the high points of my face, and I blended that out with the same Real Techniques sponge, and just make sure everything was nice and blended. And And to set everything, I'm using the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Translucent Powder. And I'm just setting my under eye, forehead, and like basically my T-zone with that powder. And I'm pretty much kind of baking. And I'm applying that with the sponge. And I'm letting that sit. And then the rest of the face, I'm using a powder brush to apply the setting powder. Okay, now jumping back into the eyes, I'm just taking that dark brown shadow I used in the crease and I'm just applying that on my lower lash line and I'm smudging it out. I'm just using that color. That color is just perfect for me. I don't really use too much colors underneath my lash line. And I'm just using a small little detailed brush for that. Alright, so jumping right back into the eyes, like I said, I wanted to use a little bit of yellow in the inner corners. So I'm gonna apply a little bit of the P. Louise base right in here. And then take some of this yellow right in there. So this color wasn't as bright as I thought it was going to be, but I still like the way it came out. I just kept on to continue like to pack it in until I got it like the intensity that I thought I liked. I freaking love this yellow in the corners. But anyway, I had to go back right into the face and I contoured with some bronzer. I mean bronzer, contour, whatever you want to call it. But I just add that to the my cheeks and my forehead just to give it a little bit more dimension. And I just blended that out with like an angled blush brush. And then as for blush, I just use this like neutral pinky peach for my blush. I don't really like too much blush so I just always go for like a neutral. All right, so for highlight, I'm using another favorite product from Wet n Wild, my the loose highlighter from Wet n Wild, and I sprayed the brush before I applied the highlighter so that way it sticks to the brush and onto my skin and not fly all over the place with loose powders. That tends to happen sometimes. And this highlighter is so pretty. I feel like it gives me a nice glow. I love it. So for lips, I'm going with my usual nude lips. So I'm using the LA Girl Natural Creme Color Lip Liner. I'm just lining my lips with that and slightly filling them in with that same liner. And then I'm going in with some pink lipstick from Essence, I think it is. I forgot the name. And I'm going in like the middle with this, and it gives you like a nice natural kind of lip color. Well, to me it does. I feel like it's like the perfect nude combination for my skin tone. And then I'm just popping some clear lip gloss or gold lip gloss from Kylie Cosmetics. Alright, so this is the finished look. I really like the way it came out. I thought I did want it like a more simple look, but it came out like this and I still love it. But yeah, I really like the way the eyeshadows blended out this time. So I don't know if I used the bases wrong the first time, because I did a couple videos back and it did give me a little bit of trouble. So I don't know if it was the base, like how I applied it, or the color maybe, because I know purples are hard to work with. But I didn't have any trouble with blending this time and I freaking love it. Oh my god, I love the way this came out. I was gonna do a red lip, but I changed my mind. I was like, let me do nude, my normal nudes. So but yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the video and I see you on the next one.